Hi guys, I've given up with the camera that I was using, so I've never tried this function using the YouTube itself to actually upload a video, so this is going to be the first time, so we'll see how it goes. It could be a shambles, but so far so good. I can see myself on the screen, hello me, and I can see how long the video is going for, so hopefully this should last a bit more than the normal 3 minutes if I'm lucky. So a lot of people have said they're doing New Year resolutions and what they're going to buy and things, and setting themselves tasks for the new year, and I thought I'd do something similar, mainly in a kind of slightly half-arsed way of cutting back on the amount of buying and eBay trawling that I do. I still probably go to the charity shops the whole time, but that doesn't really cost. So, but to cut back on actual eBay purchases, I'm going to set myself not a target, because that will maybe just increase my but parameters, should we say. So there's a record label that I've been interested in for a while, which is a record label called Dawn, and they were basically Pi, the record label Pi. They were their kind of subsidiary label that they put all their slightly more obscure stuff out on, a bit like Harvest and I presume Vertigo, and Deram. Deram would be, I think, Decca's version, you know, Harvest, EMI. So yeah, so Dawn Records, they weren't around for long. I think they started in '69 and maybe lasted for 2 or 3 years, and put out about 70 albums, I think 75. So that's my target. Obviously I'm not going to try and get all 75 this year, because that would be stupid, and obviously some of the big things that are on the label are expensive. It's hard finding anything, to be honest, on the label that isn't that expensive, but some of the bigger ones are, like Comus. Their album First Utterance was originally released on the Dawn label. There's the Africa album, I know Derek's shown, I think that's on, was originally released on Dawn. Trader Horn, all these albums go for at least £100, if not more, so I'm probably going to skip a few, but I'll try and pick up the cheaper ones. So anyway, the first thing that was released on the album, on the label, was apparently, as far as I'm aware, only released as an export. So I don't have that, never seen it actually, to be honest. I have picked up the second, which is this album here. This is John Kongos Confusions About a Goldfish, and there's a stick here that says an early album but a beautiful one. It is, it's very good. Beautiful is maybe not the word, but it's a very good album. It's kind of singer-songwritery. It's hard to describe what he's like. I would possibly say he's somewhere in between, I don't know, Nilsson? Maybe? I don't know. It's hard. He's kind of got a sound. His voice, it really reminds me of somebody, but I can't honestly think who it is. But yeah. So this is the first one. One thing I have noticed in the few that I have is they are the. I know the UK sleeves aren't necessarily always the stiffest, but there are. I mean, that is pretty flimsy. It's on a kind of Hessian sleeve, and you'll see there if I can get this held up. Catalogue number DNLS3. All their Dawn labels, all their stuff started with the catalogue number DNLS. So 3001 was the first release. This is the second, 3002. John Kongos Confusions About Goldfish. It came on the orange Dawn label. If I can zoom in and get you to have a good look at that. Nothing too exciting in the dead wax. Catalogue numbers. I think this is A1. I think it's one of those curious A2B1. Yeah. DNLS 3002 A2 and then B1. So whether there was an A1 and A1, I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm not that bothered. Quite happy with that one. And then the second or third one, as I should say, is this album here, which is a bit beat up, but again, it's hardly surprising because it's on. It's not even really made out of cardboard. It's like laminated paper, so it's very flimsy. And this is by the group called Man, who are a Welsh rock band, really, I suppose. Pretty much kind of bluesy rock. But I didn't know anything about them. I bought this album purely because it is the third release. It's called 2 ounces of plastic with a hole in the middle, but it's not. It doesn't weigh 2 ounces, so I don't know where they got that from. There's a fair chance that these guys possibly took some drugs. I mean, in fact, they did. They were quite well renowned for it, I've subsequently found out. And I think they even got arrested for being terrorists at one point. This is one of those kind of fold out horrible flappy sleeves that then the record slots in there that nobody likes. So yeah, this album actually, I put it on, and first track on it, which is called find this bit here. You can see here, Prelude and the Storm is unbelievably good. It's unlike the rest of the album. The rest of the album's pretty straightforward rock, bluesy rock, slightly psychedelic maybe, but I would possibly describe it as Deep Sabbath. It's that kind of early Black Sabbath, deep purpley kind of vibe to it. But the first track, which basically takes up half of the first side, is a kind of 12-minute space rock, followed by just one of the most beautiful little segments of music I've heard in a long time. And when I first started listening to this, I thought, why have I never heard of this album before? But then ultimately the style changed, and the rest of the album isn't really that good, to be honest. But it's worth buying for that first track alone. And this one comes on the purple Dawn label. I'm not sure whether these are different presses for for, you know, different labels depending on different presses, or whether they just had a random selection. But again, this is, what have we got in the dead wax here? This is a A1, A1, A1 and B1. So I presume that is the first press. So whether the other one's a second press, or whether they just had a selection of labels and you could pick and choose depending, I don't know. But I can definitely suggest checking out that first track. And then the third item I have is one I've actually had for a long time, which is this album here. I think I've shown it before, called Paul Brett's Sage, and it's called Schizophrenia. This is one of these flip open sleeves. A picture of them playing live. This is a later one off the label. It's picture there. DNLS 3032. So this is the 32nd release. I'm not sure whether this was still 69 or whether it was 70. But this one came out. This is a really good album again. Somewhere in the deep of my head, I seem to think that these guys didn't have a drummer, yeah, I think they had a percussionist, but not an actual drummer. For a rock band, I suppose that's quite peculiar. But yeah, again, this is another great band, great sleeve. And Paul Brett, I think, was in the Strawbs. He was a guitarist in the Strawbs, and a very good guitarist as well. So yeah, so that's my. I'll show you the sleeve. I don't know what I'm doing here with all this spare time. I'm used to babbling and rushing and not actually having time to say anything. Again, this one is on a purple label, and this one is an A2B2. So whether that's the first pressing or not, I'm not entirely sure. What I think I might do, if you bear with me a second, is I might actually play you a sample of the Man album. So if you hold on.